A regular meeting of the Board of Supervisors. Didn't work. I want to do it all over again?
No, of course.
Okay. Okay, next up is a roll call by the clerk.
Supervisor Reynolds.
Here.
Supervisor Garlick-Lorenzetti.
Here.
Supervisor Brownell.
Here.
Supervisor Barnhart.
Here.
Supervisor Borst.
Here.
Supervisor Hayes.
He's on telephone. Dave, you there? Dave Hayes? No, not yet.
He's not here.
Supervisor Ferrara.
Here.
Supervisor Cronenwetter. Supervisor Lott.
Here.
Supervisor McGreevy.
Here.
Supervisor Heisen.
Here.
Supervisor Trout.
Here.
Supervisor Clear.
Here.
Supervisor Enslow.
Here.
You have a quorum, Mr. Chairman.
Very good, thank you. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, please be seated. Okay, next up is a public hearing. You need a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Okay, a second?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor of opening the public hearing, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're now open. The public hearing is a local law to override the tax levy limit established in general municipal law. So, anybody here want to address the board on the tax override? Okay.
I make a motion, we close the public hearing.
Okay.
Second.
Second by Mr. Clark-Lorenzetti. Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Public hearing is now closed. Next up is presentation by Vicky Sweinhart. She has some good news to tell us about.
Well, to any of the members that were on the Board of Supervisors way back in 2013, you may remember some of these discussions. At that time, the Health Department began discussions on whether we wanted to become nationally accredited. I know the Law Enforcement Center and the Corrections Office are accredited. There's also public health accreditation that's been available. At that time, the State Health Department was really pushing the local health departments to get accredited, and they increased that pressure over the next couple years. Through the State Rural Health Network, several of counties, we got together, we talked about it, and we determined there was no way we were going to be able to do it with our limited resources as a single county. At that time, FAB allowed for a multi-jurisdictional application, so we proceeded with that. We had to send in a letter saying we were thinking about it and we're going to apply. Once we decided and had our ducks in a row, we then had to set what we call a letter of intent. Once we sent that letter, we had 1 year to get all of our documentation together and send it. There were 12 domains that we had to demonstrate that we were able to meet the minimum standards or exceed them. And out of those 12 domains, since it was a multi-jurisdictional application, we had to demonstrate that we worked together on at least 6 of those domains. A lot of hard work, a lot of sweat and tears, beaucoup documentation. I can't even begin to tell you the binders full of documentation that we sent. We submitted our documentation on time. It took the reviewers over a year to review the documentation because it was from 6 counties. They requested additional documentation. We sent it back and forth. In 2018, I know Mr. McGreevy was on the Board of Health at that time. We had on-site reviewers come, and this is a national accreditation, so they came from across the country. There were none of the reviewers were from New York. Usually they send a team of 6. They had to send, or I'm sorry, 2 people. Because it was 6 counties, they had to send 8 people to do the interviews. They were at each county for 3 days, asking questions of staff, asking questions of administration. They sat down with our Board of Health and discussed it, went back, and again, we played the waiting game. They meet quarterly, and then they had to put us on their agenda, and then, of course, COVID happened. So we have been waiting and waiting and waiting, and I'm very, very pleased to say that last week we were notified that we are now a fully accredited health department. So I'm very pleased for that, and it goes with, I will tell you, that the other counties is Schuyler, Steuben, Seneca, Yates, Ontario, and Wayne. We are now fully accredited. It was an all or nothing. That was the danger of doing a multi-jurisdictional application. If there was one weak county, nobody was going to get accredited. So all of our sweat and hard work has paid off, so we are now fully accredited. And I will tell you that there are only 8 counties in the entire state that are accredited now, and now we're adding 6 more. So it's kudos to the staff. We have certainly sharpened up on the work that we've done, the documentation that we do, et cetera. So it was a huge, huge endeavor, and we're very proud of the fact that we were accredited. It now is we will need to reapply. Reaccreditation is every 5 years. I'm not sure if I'm proud of this fact or not, but I think we broke the bank. We are the largest 6-county multi-jurisdictional application. They will no longer allow any multi-jurisdictional applications. I think it was too overwhelming for them with the amount of documentation, paperwork that had to be submitted, and the review process for them. So what will happen when we get reaccredited, I'm assuming they're going to still let us go together since we were a unit, but I'm not positive on that. But we have 4 years before we have to worry about that.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Good job. Okay, petitioners. Next up is Valerie McIntyre. I wrote this out. An organizer for the Casino Stand United, a grassroots group representing the out of work essential workers from all the non-Native American Indian casinos. Welcome. You can take that out. Yes.
First, I want to say thank you to this board. We have had great advocates standing up for us and helping us to move forward. We have a petition running for Del Lago. We are now approaching 4,000 supporters, which is amazing. We were hoping for 100, and we exceeded that. We hit our 3rd rally. The first one was in Albany. We had all New York State casinos available for that one. The second one, we, at noon not this past Thursday, the one before at noon, all the state casinos held their own in front of their own casinos. Massive media coverage on that. And this past week, the board had offered us the outside, and it was amazing. So thank you to each one of you. We appreciate it. Although we understand that the county is losing massive revenue with us being closed, we are looking at 5,200 casino, non-tribal casino workers on unemployment. With the decrease in the unemployment, the $600 gone, many of us are looking at an upwards of $2,400 a month loss of salary. It makes it very hard. Many of the casino workers have young children. They cannot maintain their living, and so we need to push on. We did open up a Casino Stand United room. We are way over the 2,000 mark on members across New York State. And although we don't want to just focus on Del Lago because it's much more than just Del Lago, we're now looking with Governor Cuomo opening up at 25% capacity. We're still looking at a 35+ unemployment in the state casinos. That's sad. That's extremely sad. Our due date to open was for tomorrow. As of now, we don't know where we stand. Everything's up in the air. We're rushing, we're trying to get going. Stacy and I are with table games. So far, table games, we have no word. There were employees brought back today for COVID training, but still no word on opening. Although we are grateful that the governor allowed us at 25% capacity, in a casino, that's not much. So we need to keep the pressure on. We cannot let up. Yesterday, a new petition was generated, and what we were asking for is a little bit leadway in getting these employees back to work. If we were to look at 50% capacity in the casinos, we can cut the unemployment of casino workers in half, at least, or even more. So the county has my absolute backing that we will not stop pushing for the reopening of Del Lago. You need the revenue, we need the jobs, and it's just going forth. We have to get heard. We have to push this forth. So again, thank you to every one of you, and hopefully you'll see us at the next rally.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next up is open privilege of the floor. Anybody wants to address the board?
This is going to be the only thing to address the board.
For tonight.
Okay. I just have some questions.
He needs to come up
Yeah, we got it.
with a
We
microphone.
need you up at the microphone, just so the public can hear.
Name and town.
Yep. My name's James Garlick in the town of Eric. Yes, that is my sister Cindy. I just have a few observations because I've been watching these meetings online now. And I think this county and this board is doing a great job with what you have to work with. But there's a few questions that I've only heard once or twice that haven't been addressed or answered. One of the things is going along with the casinos is how the decision was made for the casinos and the gyms to be at 33%. Why not 50%? What was the criteria that was supposed to be followed by the governor to make that decision? I know he makes all the decisions. If this county had 0 cases, would we be able to be at 100%? Or even 75%? What is the following, what's the governor following? I know it's the health department, a lot of it. But what is the criteria for people like this county to be able to be opened more than what it is? We know what the governor's plan is. I heard him today. He's still hoping beyond hope for federal assistance. He's prepared to wait until November 3rd for the elections to see if he's got an idea how that might turn out. So if the election turns out where you get all Republicans, let's say, does that make his mind change on how he's going to approach things? He shouldn't have to wait till November 3rd to decide what he wants to do and lets us know. We're having a revenue problem. The restaurants in this area are barely making it at 50%. This county, the numbers have been low. Why aren't we at 75%? Or even higher? Maybe it's because we're grouped in with Rochester. Well, I think we have problems with that also. Rochester's having their protests now for 6 nights in a row. And of course, those cases are probably going to go up. So I think this board ought to address to the governor's office that these questions be answered if you already don't know. I mean, I've heard that question. I can't remember what representative asked that question, and it was never answered. I don't know if the health department has an answer, but if I was a business owner, which my family used to be, and I have cousins that are, I would demand answers for that. He doesn't want to raise taxes. He doesn't want to borrow money today, he said. And he gave his reasons why. And I guess you could say some of it makes sense. But again, if he turns down the 2% cap, where does that leave us now? I mean, I could think of, the biggest thing I could think of is revenue coming in from the casinos, from the restaurants, from our tourism industry. Tom Murray was here the last couple of meetings, and he's flabbergasted about these rule changes that basically squeezes the business owner. At this point, why can't somebody go in and just have a drink without ordering food? Our numbers show that we can do it. So, you know, I would just like to have those questions answered if anybody here knows, the manager, if the health department's here. But I see no reason, if this county needs revenue, because we were doing great before this happened. The revenue was there. The revenue would have continued to have been there for the last 6 months. And I think next year, you're not going to have in this area a big revenue problem. You've got too many things going on in this county with the tourism and the agriculture and the park systems, where I think you're going to have even more and more people come to upstate New York. You're already seeing an inflow of people looking for housing. So that might help the county next year with the tax base. These houses are going unbelievably high. You can't find a house on the market. They're gone in a day or two. So I foresee a revenue increase next year, but in the next 6 months, you're asking for a cap to go above 2%. That's hurting these people that are unemployed. If they're barely making it on unemployment now, I don't foresee where above 2%, yeah, it resolves your immediate problem, but it could be creating problems down the line. So my biggest thing in all this is I think the governor has grouped this too much in with New York City. I think this board needs to put more pressure on him for answers to how he came up with his criteria of the amount of people that you could have in these businesses and during the time length. The casinos that have opened, the Indian casinos, you haven't heard any problems there. How long have they been open at 100%? So as a taxpayer myself, and who has relatives in business, I think these questions need to be forced upon the governor of why, you know, we're not given, take the chains off us and let us start operating at least 50% for everybody. And what is it going to take to go to 75%? The only other thing I wanted to know about, which I kind of answered myself since the state's in a bind, was about the cemetery. And if somebody could tell us where we stand on that.
I'd let Mitch respond to that. I missed the meeting today at 4 o'clock. Did you go to that meeting?
I did. So this board, this county has been very clear and forthright in advocating and believing that the Sampson Veterans Memorial Cemetery should be the first state veteran cemetery. We had been hopeful of a decision by now from the state, but that didn't happen, perhaps because of COVID. We have a special committee that was convened that's led by Mike Nozzolio. We had a 4 o'clock Zoom meeting today. We remain hopeful and believe strongly that Sampson is deserving and should be the first state cemetery, but there has not been any action yet from the state to make that announcement.
So is this another decision that has no time limit?
I don't believe there is a time limit, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Excuse me, Chairman.
Yes.
So if the 13 guys here think that I just argue with you, that's not the case. I have four brothers that I do this all the time with at home. Ha, okay.
Yeah, she's tough.
No, please.
The reason she has so much passion is because she loves her town, she represents the county, the Finger Lakes. So if she gets a little too passionate, don't take it, personal. She's looking out for this area. As much as anybody that I know. And I'm blessed to have her as a sister.
Okay, next on, we report to standing committee, but I do have something important to say. I'll call it my chairman's remark. This is from Lance Young. He's from the Del Lago. Screen went blank. We are approved, and we will be sending a press release for opening at 2 p.m. tomorrow. So there you go. Good news.
I don't know.
Okay.
I believe they're doing a soft opening on that. We're just doing everything tomorrow, 2 p.m.
The doors will be open. That's a good thing. We can only hope for the best that we don't get any COVID there and they loosen the percentages up sooner than later. And you keep up the good work. Okay. Reports to standing committees, Public Health Services.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Public Health Services met on August 25th. We have one resolution on tonight's agenda, and that resolution will authorize the receipt of grant monies awarded to the Public Health Department to assist with COVID-19 response efforts in the amount of $151,788. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Very good, thank you. Planning Development, Ag and Tourism, Supervisor Barnhart.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Planning, Development, Agriculture, and Tourism Committee approved and continued to discuss the economic development strategy for Seneca County. Actually, I'm not sure if we're taking any action on it tonight. Sorry,
Okay.
Thank you.
Very good. Indian Affairs, Supervisor Lott.
I have nothing, Mr. Chairman.
Well, we are trying to set up a meeting, or how are we making all of that?
It should be for the committee meeting next 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
It'll be a question of whether Brian comes here or whether y'all do it over video.
Okay, that's good. Personnel, Supervisor Ferrara.
Personnel Committee approved filling several vacant positions, Deputy Director for Public Health, Temporary Aging Services Aide, Social Welfare Examiner position, Social Welfare Examiner temporary position, and a caseworker training position. Tonight we'll be asking the board to waive the hiring freeze policy for those positions that are not exempt. Resolution on tonight's agenda creating two part-time jail physicians. The committee approved creating these two positions part-time. We were contracting the services with Finger Lakes Medical Group, which expires next week. Hiring two part-time physicians will ensure us coverage and keeps us under our budget. Adopted last board meeting, create a full-time position for public health nurse and part-time registered nurse. Resolution adopted for August 25th meeting. Funded through the grant funding at least through June 30th of 2022. COVID pandemic has significantly increased the workload of the public health nursing staff. Many changes made to the way programs and service will be provided, and nurses are responsible for individuals and families conducting contact tracing. And adopted at last board meeting, universal mask policy at our August 25th meeting. That's it, sir.
Very good, thank you. Next up, water and sewer treatment, maintenance and operation, Supervisor Hayes or Borst.
Dave
Are
there?
you on yet?
He said he can hear, but you can't hear him.
Oh,
Sent me a message.
okay.
You have his phone on mute?
I'm not sure, but I can handle this if you want me to,
Okay.
Chairman.
Okay.
The Water and Sewer Committee met August 25th. A few things for information. I&I studies completed and were just received. The county manager forwarded copies to the committee members. Good news is that we have the deliverable of the documents. B&L continues to revise the PER. Hope to speak with Barnhart and Hayes as part of the revised PER. Hope to have it completed by the September 22nd committee meetings. The Hillside decommissioning plan was completed by Hunt Engineers and submitted to the DEC. This was not approved as long as Hillside and First Light do not have their own self-sustaining systems. Some talk was talked about Earl Martin buying Hillside and running his own force main, and First Light connecting into that. That's about it. Thank you, Chairman.
Okay, very good, thank you. Public Safety, Supervisor Burnell.
The Public Safety Committee has three resolutions on for tonight's agenda. One is the upgrade security by installing newer cameras at all of our radio tower sites and 911 service rooms for less than $60,000 with funds available from the New York State Interoperable Communications Grant. One is the extent of software and maintenance control for the Public Defender's Office, and one is the increase our rate for the coroner fees in line with other counties. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much. Government Operations, Supervisor Garlic Lorenzetti.
Yes, sir, we did a resolution that this year's OVID board meeting on October 13th at 6:00 PM in the Papa Bear Building.
That's it?
Yeah, for
Very
that.
good. Thank you. Environmental Affairs, Supervisor Garlic Lorenzetti.
Yes, so Supervisor Cornwater can be here tonight. He wanted me to read the following statement on his behalf. The best news from the environment of Seneca County is that the town of Seneca Falls purchased a new overflow tank for water treatment plant, which will save thousands of gallons of sewage from being dumped into the environment. I'm not so sure about, I don't know. Maybe Supervisor Farrar can give a little more info?
After I stop laughing, I'll give you a little bit more info. Yeah, the equalization tank has been in the works before my time. I'm trying to put it on a quick path, quicker than it's been moving. We face a problem in Seneca Falls. I don't know if Waterloo probably faces the same problem. Many businesses and residents are hooked up to, their drainage system is hooked up to the storm sewer illegally, but there's nothing we can do until the property is sold, and then we make the buyer or the seller fix it. But basically, equalization tank will be increased, modernized. It will be able to hold more of the overflow when it rains 2 inches in an hour. We've been working on relining sewer lines to obviously help with the situation as well, and hopefully eliminate, not totally, but reduce the number of discharges that happen because the current equalization tank is antiquated and not big enough. So tell Supervisor Cronenweather, thanks for coming to all the meetings in Seneca Falls, and thanks for his input. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Little sarcasm there.
I'm trying to figure that out.
Sarcasm.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Next up, Public Works Supervisor Trout.
Public Works does not have anything to report on this month's meeting, but we are in discussions about what to do with two county-owned properties down in the town of Lodi, and should have a resolution for next month's meeting.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Finance, Assessment, and Insurance, Supervisor Reynolds.
Thank you, Chairman Heisen. Tonight's committee has a resolution tonight on the agenda authorizing the budget amendments for the 2020. And we've been working on preparation for the 2021 budget. We just did the override resolution to do the override earlier on tonight. And we're working with the impact on the COVID-19, what that's going to do to the budget. Reduction of sales tax revenue and the gaming revenues. It's still unclear how much New York State budget will withhold for 2021. And because of our hiring freeze, salaries for this year were $1.7 million below budget. Contractual expenses were $500,000 below budget this year versus the same time last year. And the county manager and finance director are working to close the gap. The tentative budget will be filed on November 15th. Tentative agenda filed on November 15th, I'm sorry.
Budget. Yeah, you're right.
That was right, all right.
That's
it.
That's it, okay, very good, thank you. Okay, committees that did not have a meeting in August, did anybody, Human Services, Mental, or Technology, have anything to add?
No, Chairman, we didn't have anything.
Okay, very good. Reports to Special Committee. IDA?
Yeah, I'd like to mention last month's IDA meeting, there was a lot of discussion revolving the revolving loan fund, and they changed the rules quite a bit for the revolving loan fund. They're trying to specialize for small business and anybody that was affected by COVID-19. So you're looking at $25,000 to $30,000 loans is what they're targeting. If your business has been affected in any way, definitely get a hold of
Sarah at the IDA and maybe pick up a packet on how you might be able to apply for some of these loans. They are trying to help as many people as humanly possible that have been negatively affected by the whole COVID-19 situation, and they do have plenty of money to spend. And it's one of these state programs where if you don't spend it, they lower your amount. So they would like to write some loans to some people. So as far as this month's meeting went, not much happened. There was a lease that was approved to Earl Martin so he could begin renovations on the Hillside campus before the finalization of the sale. That was pretty much it.
When do you expect the finalization of the sale?
Hopefully, well, anything like what happened with the sale of the depot, 3-4 years. I mean, that's a little sarcasm, but I would expect in the next 3 months, something like that. But this allows him to start the renovations before winter, and I'm assuming that's what his main target is. I haven't talked to him personally about it, but I can imagine that facility needs some pretty extensive repairs in order to stay operational. So I would expect the sale to go through in 3 months, but who knows? Lawyers are tough.
3 months to 4 years. Okay.
Yep.
Good range. Thank you. Anybody else? Cooperative extension or soil and water?
Number 8 on the agenda.
I missed something, Margaret? Approval of minute. Oh, we went right through that. Approval of meeting minutes. Got a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Okay. All those, any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? They're approved. Back to any more special committees. Yes. Rock.
Cooperative Extension did meet 2 weeks ago. It was sort of a bare bones meeting. I mean, we were in person, but they went over from finances. I think they've been in touch with the county manager. They had a finance committee meeting last week, so they're trying to put a budget together so they can try to not ask for any more money they have to from us. So, but that's it. It's just a bare bones meeting, just absolute minimum.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Soil and water, anything?
No, I don't think.
Okay. Okay, next up, Chairman's remarks. I guess I said my remarks. If the casino's opening up tomorrow at 2 o'clock, good luck. County manager's remarks. Oh, I got left out here, the census. What'd they do, Margaret? They sent us these packets that we're supposed to give these out in our towns now?
Yeah, the Harriet Haynes made sure that each person had a bag, and then really urged everybody to make sure that they get the news out in their towns, that the deadline to complete the census is September 30th. And so what's in those bags are tools that they can use to pass out, basically what we have here too. The town supervisors got a bag, the county supervisors got cards.
Okay. Okay, very good, thank you. County manager's remarks.
Just to briefly follow up on Supervisor Reynolds' remarks, work on the 2021 budget is ongoing. County department submissions have been substantially completed. Our affiliate organizations have been asked to submit their request by September 15th. We legally have until November 15th for the tentative budget to be filed with Margaret and the board. The big variables will be the sales tax and the gaming revenue, and taking a little more time to see how the COVID recovery goes and how reopenings go will give us a better handle on revenue streams and hopefully take pressure off of needing to look at raising the property tax levy. I know the board will take action tonight on an override. Hopefully we will not need that. We should know more in the coming weeks, and I'll be sure to keep the board apprised. So that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Very good, thank you. County attorney's remarks. Nothing, okay. Communication.
Communications 83 through 96 have been received and filed. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, very good, thank you. Next up, resolutions. Number 15 for finance assessment and insurance. Supervisor Reynolds.
Board of Supervisors authorize amendments to the 2020 Seneca County budget.
Support.
A second there. Okay, any discussion? Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 16.
Resolution authorizing adoption by the Board of Supervisors of the County of Seneca, a local law number 2, 2020, the local law to override the tax levy limit established in General Municipal Law 3-C.
Support.
Support, again, okay, any discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next up is Public Safety Supervisor Burnell, resolution number 17.
Authorized contract extending for the Public Defender's Case Management System, Maintenance and Software Support with the New York State Defenders Association Incorporated.
Support.
Support on that, any discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Authorized purchase and installation of security cameras for the Seneca County Public Safety radio tower sites and 911 service room.
Support.
Second on that. Okay, any discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Order the supervisor authorize updated coroner and related service.
Support.
Support.
Support on that, couple supports. Okay, any discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next up is Personnel Supervisor Ferrara, number 20.
Board of Supervisors approves waiver to hiring freeze to refill temporary aging services aide HEAP position.
Support.
Support there, okay. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. 21.
Board of Supervisors approves waiver to hiring freeze to refill social welfare examiner position.
Support.
Support. Any discussion? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Number 22.
Board of Supervisors approves waiver to hiring freeze to refill a temporary social welfare examiner HEAP position.
Support.
Support. Okay, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. 23.
Authorize creation and filling of 2 positions for jail physician part-time positions.
Support.
Second. Okay, any discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Public Health. Supervisor McGreevy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Accept grant award and authorize contracts to receive epidemiology and laboratory capacity, ELC, COVID-19 funding.
Support.
Second on that. Any discussion? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No nays. Carried. Okay. That's it for that part. Unfinished business. Nothing.
Do we have to do the overtime? As in the meeting, the overtime?
Okay, new business.
Chairman,
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to enter into executive session pursuant to section 105(1)(f) of the New York State Open Meetings Law. I move into an executive session to discuss personnel matters and invite the following individuals, all members of the Board of Supervisor and the personnel officer.
Second.
Second on that. Okay. Any discussion? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're now, we'll go into executive session. I don't think we're going to take any action when we get done. We are live now.
More population, hand them out to cows.
Okay, you're live.
Fill them out.
You're live.
Okay. I make a motion to adjourn for the evening.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you, Bob.
Here you go. You can have those. Put them in your town hall.
I guess we have the voice of the.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, yeah, harvesting, and I will,
Fine with me.
I am for reprimand, okay? Just in case.